So we had a really good question as a follow-up from last week's video around are carbs bad for you? And like you can see in that video, they are not, but it is something to be aware of as they're really easy calories that are easy to overconsume. And the question we got was around when it comes to eating vegetables, what are the like hidden, so to speak, carbs in vegetables so you can have a better idea of which ones are higher in calorie and which ones are lower in calorie. And depending on your nutritional needs, sometimes you're going to want lower calorie stuff, sometimes you're going to want higher calorie stuff. So I'm going to include some links in the blog post because it's a lot easier to see visually than it is for me to describe on video. But generally speaking, your lowest calorie and lowest carb vegetables are things that are like fibrous. So think things like spinach, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, things that like, when you bite into a piece of celery, you can know that there's strings, like you can feel that it's fibrous versus the vegetables that are more like corn or carrots or potatoes. There's less fiber in them and they're a little bit closer to like a pasta or a bread, and those tend to be a lot higher in carbohydrate. Now, the piece that's really important for this is you want to look at the net carbs, not the like gross carbs, so to speak. Gross is in total. Because when there's something like, let's say, kale, which is very fibrous, it might show that, let's say, 10 grams of carbs per serving, but 8 of those grams might be fiber. And when you look at a food label, fiber is classified as a carbohydrate, but because as humans we can't digest fiber and turn it into energy, that fiber is just, it doesn't count towards the calories. You're only looking at the net carbs, and that's really, really important. Because if you only look at the total and you see 10 per serving, that's like, oh, that could be a lot. But when you look at the net, it might be only 2. And looking on my screen here, like 1 cup of kale is only 1.4 grams of net carbs. Carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, so we're looking at like 6 calories in a cup of kale. Basically 0. That is negligible. The other huge benefit with fibrous veggies is we need fiber. It keeps us regular. It helps our digestive system. It's a really important thing, and especially if you're eating a lot of processed foods or even a lot of vegetables that don't have a lot of fiber, because veggies tend to be our source of most fiber, you just don't get the same benefits, and you really want to have that fiber in your diet. So in addition to having less total carbs, therefore less total calories, you'll also have more fiber, which is really good for your digestive system, and it also keeps you fuller for longer, so you're less likely to snack. So I'm going to include, like I mentioned, some of the links for this, but again, the more fibrous the veggie, spinach, kale, lettuce, cauliflower, broccoli, tend to be lower net carbs, lots of fiber, very important. Tomato and cucumber are also really low in calorie, to the point where like I just consider them 0 unless you're eating 100 cucumbers a day. And then when you get to things like carrots, corn, potatoes, the things that are, you can tell, are just a little less fibrousy when you bite into them, those tend to get into the realm of like, yes, they're still a vegetable. Yes, they still have lots of important vitamins and minerals. Carbohydrates are not bad. This is not about running away, kicking and screaming, but those are pretty much comparable to something that would be like rice or grains. So I hope this is valuable for you when it comes to picking your veggies. The main takeaway here is you probably want some of both. But for a lot of people, they don't get enough fiber. And if you can increase that fiber, which naturally decreases the number of net carbs and calories, you're going to feel better, you're going to feel fuller, plus you're getting a little bit less calories along the way. Enjoy.